This episode of An Abundance of Naught is brought to you by Amazon.com. Amazon affiliated with us. We're very happy about it. Please go to anabundanceofnaught.com, click on the Amazon banner, and do all your shopping as normal. Bookmark for ease of use. We appreciate it.
And TLDRgamer.com. When you don't have a whole lot of time to read the gaming news and just want the brief excerpts, visit TLDRgamer.com for the core info. Thank you to them for the hosting and bandwidth for our podcast. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome in to An Abundance of Naught. It is Wednesday, everyone's favorite Wednesday hump day, and it is June 18th, I think. Yes, it is.
All day.
All day. It's been that day all day. And it's funny, it's been that all day, and when I had to sign something for my apartment complex, I wrote in the month of August. I don't know why.
No, not there yet.
Yeah. So how's it going?
It's going well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? Why is it well?
It's well because it's not unwell.
Oh, well, okay.
Because he doesn't have a wall.
Okay, Mr. Cryptic. Holy crap.
There you go. No, that was profound.
We're not on that podcast yet. Talk about that later.
No, whatever.
I am, So I'm in the wonderfully historic city of Boston, Massachusetts.
Bostonia.
Boston, yep. My lovely wife tagged along this week, so she's been out exploring, and we've been having a great time.
What notable features would you like to pay homage to?
None?
Okay,
I had a really quick tour this evening. Caught some highlights. Shoot, I don't even remember the names of half of them. We saw the Massachusetts State Building, the State Legislature Building, South Church, King's Chapel. We stood on a spot in the street where you could see across to North Church where they lit the lanterns to let Paul Revere know that the British were coming. That was kind of cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The meeting house where the Tea Party was organized. The original one. The real one.
Tea Party. Not the one that decided to pop up like 2 months ago.
Yeah, no. This was the one that actually threw tea in the harbor.
Real Tea Party.
There's plenty of memorials there. We saw the Holocaust Memorial. There's the site of the Boston Massacre. They've got a memorial plaque there.
Sounds like a lot going on.
Any bells?
Oh, there is a ton of stuff in a very small area. It's really, really difficult to see, any significant portion of it.
Given the time frame, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even given a significant time frame, I mean, while I'm at work, my wife has all day to go explore, and she's still only scratched the surface.
Yeah, that sounds nuts. I mean, I've only ever been to the East Coast twice, and both of which were in New York City, that is. One of which with you, obviously. And, I mean, the first time I got to experience, the Guggenheim, and we were going to go into the Metropolitan Museum, but because we had a bunch of snacks and stuff in our backpacks, they wouldn't let us in.
Right.
So even though you check your backpacks and, like, when you walk in and whatnot, but that was lame. But yeah, I haven't been anywhere else on the East Coast, so I am uncultured, as it were, in that regard.
Well, there's definitely a lot of history. I mean, when you think back in your history, this is where the country started.
Yep.
From a Western standpoint, anyway.
Of course. No, 100% true.
So, yep. We went by the cemetery at King's Chapel, and there's some grave markers, tombstones in there from people that died in the late 1600s and early 1700s.
Isn't that crazy to think?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a lot of tombstones that are so weathered you can't even read what's on them.
that's kind of sad.
It's just-
You'd like to think that certain historical things, or even the church or whatnot, would maybe do something, or cemetery, the group that presides over the cemetery would have some degree of upkeep to try to maintain some of that. Because, I mean, another 50, 100 years, like you said, some of those are going to be truly unreadable, unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Even just corroded away.
Yep, just destroyed by the weather. Well, how was your Father's Day?
My Father's Day was nice. My children are stepchildren, so they had to go to their other father for actual Father's Day. But as we've discussed on the podcast before, we have absolutely no problem moving vacations around.
Sure.
So we celebrated Father's Day on Saturday. So I got cards and a couple presents, and then we were off to the soccer games.
Nice. How'd they do?
Yeah. They did well. They kicked the other team's butt in a very satisfying manner.
Now, are you showing them or having them watch any of the World Cup going on?
No, we have not been watching it. I've checked the status on a couple of the games that Australia has played in, but we haven't watched any of it.
Who's played in?
Yeah. Australia.
That's the wrong country, buddy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. No. Mm-mm.
If you like Australia so much, you feel free to move back.
And I'm just going to
Alrighty.
get something to drink.
You know,
you guys still
where,
this out?
where there's plenty of things that would rather kill you than share the space. Yeah, I haven't really been following it either. I mean, I saw highlights from the U.S. Nigeria game, where
Okay.
I suppose that U.S. now holds the record for the quickest goal scored in the World Cup. It was like 36 seconds or something like that into the game. So,
Nice.
from what I understand, it was a pretty intense game. I saw the highlights like 50 times over at Monday night, so it was pretty crazy.
Who were they against?
Nigeria, I think.
Nigeria. Just I was like, wait, what?
Oh, we started? We weren't even on the field yet.
No, they were like, just give it to them. Just
No,
let
they
'em-
held their own. I mean, they came back and tied it up, I guess, and then at the end of the game was a really awesome corner kick by the U.S. team and a header to win the game. So I'm understanding it was a pretty intense game, although I would imagine the Mexico game, I'm not sure who they were playing, I think it was Brazil, ended in a tie. So, that had to be pretty stressful going back and forth.
Absolutely.
It's always fun because we have the games on at the bar.
Oh, okay.
So we always get people who just stand there, just stare at the
yeah.
screen. So it just looks like a bunch of zombies just like looking. inside the
I mean,
bar.
I'm not a fan of a lot of sports, but World Cup can be fascinating and intoxicating. So,
and then when the final two teams are at the last game, it doesn't matter which one wins or loses. They're still rioting the streets because their team won or their team lost.
I'm pretty sure only LA does that for the Lakers. They riot, win or lose.
You'd be surprised to see Brazil at the end of the.
Yeah, well,
winning
let's hope
team at
Brazil
the end.
doesn't screw up their land too much. We got to have the Olympics down there too. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see, recap of the weekend. Friday, went to the movies. We'll talk about that in a minute. Saturday, just did a little bit of house hunting, open houses and whatnot. Just kind of hung around. And then Father's Day, didn't really do anything on this end. We ran out for some pizzas to get for the Game of Thrones dinner and some cheesecake and whatnot just for the dessert. But aside from that, nothing really notable. When you've got an 8-year-old kid, you can't expect too much. So, but we just had kind of a hangout day and it was all good. So no real complaints on this end.
Sometimes hangout days are the best.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I am looking into getting back into martial arts and getting my daughter into it also. And my dad actually offered to help out with the expense with that, so that's pretty cool. I put an email into a studio that I like the vibe of, so I'm trying to get more information back on them to see if that's the route that we take. So I'm sure I'll be discussing that further in weeks to come.
We look forward to not hearing it.
Wow. That's not very nice.
That's uncaring.
That's
Harsh.
rude. Wait, anything you've got going, sharing, expressing?
Working on the channel, obviously the highlight of my weekend, Friday night, was the movie, which I believe we will get into.
Extensively.
I'm surprised what happened to it, considering that with the other movie. But we'll get into that.
Fantastic.
What?
What?
How was pool, Garrett?
I actually didn't play. I went and I got to shoot my bow for the first time. Okay. I'm a little actually upset right now. So I hit up the archery range for the first time in about a month. And shooting it, you meet some nice guys up there. And one of them has a bow that's made by a company called Hoyt, which is super popular. And almost every Olympic recurve bow is a Hoyt. They're just really well made. And they make a bow that is the Buffalo series, which is a traditional recurve, no sights, no stabilizers, no whatever. It's just a really clean aluminum primary section. Then you've got the limbs that actually bend for the bow. This is also the same bow that was used in Avengers by Hawkeye and also used in Hunger Games Catching Fire by Katniss. I love the look of this bow. Well, this guy had one. And I got to shoot it. And you know when you like something and you kind of obsess over it, but you're not sure if you really love it yet? And then you get the opportunity to try it. And you're not sure if you're happy that you really like it or if you're more depressed. Because this bow's like $800. And I'm not anywhere near in a state to drop that kind of money on this bow. But it felt amazing in my hand. So now I'm not so sure if I would have been happier if I didn't like the feel of it, because now I have a higher temptation than I did before. So kind of, mixed emotions.
But hey, you got to try it.
I did. No, I'm grateful for trying it, and it is a gorgeous bow. And if we have any dedicated fans that want to make me happy, it is on eBay, I think. It's not on Amazon. I've looked.
Already checked there.
But yeah, went over to the bar for pool and the pool teams are an 8-person max, and you only play 5 matches. So somebody sitting out this week was my turn, which is probably for the best because of my track record lately. So yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of abundance of pool.
We haven't, and for good reason. So, pardon the sound effects of a rabid, psychotic animal.
Moving on.
Moving on, indeed. Well, let me get my stuff ready. Let's just jump right into the movies then, shall we? So, coming out this week, we have Think Like a Man 2. This is a Kevin Hart comedy, apparently a sequel. Looks like a...
I love that. Apparently a sequel. We have no idea when the first one was.
It's quite apparently a sequel. And I didn't see the first one, and I'm fairly confident that I won't be seeing this. It's without being racist or prejudiced or anything, it is primarily a black comedy style movie. Pretty much 90% of the cast is black, which is, fine. It's just not my cup of tea. No critic rating as of yet on that one. Also coming out is Jersey Boys, and I know quite literally nothing about this. Looks like Clint Eastwood's directing of a Tony Award-winning musical. So, musical gone film with Clint Eastwood at the helm. So, that could be interesting if you're a fan of musicals. That's got a 64% critic rating.
In musicals and Clint Eastwood, it's not really a big audience.
Yeah, it's a strange combination.
Yeah, right? It's quite interesting. In the box office, no one took me up on my bet, so I get to keep my money. 22 Jump Street takes first at $57.1 million, retaining an 84% critic rating. How to Train Your Dragon at second at $49.5 million with 94% critic rating. And Maleficent at third, pulling in an additional 18.5. Edge of Tomorrow at fourth, pulling in 16.5. Although I've heard really good things about Edge of Tomorrow, and it's still got a 90% critic rating, so I may have to take myself out and see that one.
Yeah, I was thinking about I might do that tomorrow.
There you go. So I blame 22 Jump Street because if you would have combined the revenue for that and How to Train Your Dragon, it would have hit my projected $100 million. So screw those guys. Actually, it looks hilarious. I was going to rent the first one to potentially go see the second one, and it was totally out of stock in the red box that I went to. So I was sad.
So it didn't happen.
That's right. All three of us were at the theater seeing How to Train Your Dragon. Some of us opening 10 o'clock showing on Thursday, Brad, and the rest of us, which all two of the remaining Friday evening. Who wants to chime in first with their perceptions, likes, dislikes?
See it.
Yeah, if you saw on our Facebook page, we said the same thing. If you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out. You need to go see it. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, the whole family enjoyed it. It was a very well done sequel.
Have you come to any terms on if you've decided if it's better or equal to the first one?
It's definitely equal. There is some debate over whether it's better.
There's debate in my head whether it's better. I can't decide.
Yeah. I need to go back and rewatch the original one again.
So we watched the original Thursday night, knowing we were going to see the second one Friday. Making sure it's fresh.
That was smart. Doing your homework there.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so no, I haven't seen the first one recently, so I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But there was no disappointment in the second one. It was well done.
That's a very, very fair statement. And I like that both of these movies are not just telling a story. They're also have the underlying tones of teaching a lesson, but not in a preachy way.
Okay,
so I really enjoy that they've done that with both these movies.
It's not shoving it down your throat. You can get past it easily.
Mm-hmm.
They were teaching a lesson?
Exactly.
I don't even know what to say to you right now. So, yeah, I mean, animation was great. Story was awesome. Lesson, like we said, is there, but not... is definitely a core factor, but not a nuisance. We even were sitting in the theater when it ended and said, should we just stay for the next showing? I mean, we were totally willing to watch it immediately again. So if that's got any value to you as a viewer, as a moviegoer, take full advantage. Anything else?
Yeah.
I think we cannot say anything like... How do I want to put this? If we were to say anything, it would still be disrespectful to the movie.
I mean, we can't hype it up enough without obviously giving away the spoilers. I mean, this is just one of those movies that... What I love about this movie is this was highly anticipated. All three of us were really looking forward to this coming out. And typically when you have a movie like that, they can be a great disappointment. And this was far from that.
Heck, I even have a Toothless shirt now, so...
That's right. That's it. So in switching gears a little bit, then some other movie news. We have we are fans of his work, Jason Momoa, who we all know as Khal Drogo from the HBO series Game of Thrones, who is also in Stargate Atlantis. He was recently in a movie with Sly Stallone. Forget what it was. Anyway, he may be in the running, it's not confirmed yet, to play Aquaman in the upcoming Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice movie. I wanted to bring this up to see if you guys had any thoughts in regards to this casting or him in that role.
Remind me again, who's been cast for the other two lead roles?
From my understanding, they're using Henry Cavill, who was Superman in the recent Man of Steel movie. And if memory serves, Ben Affleck has been cast as Batman.
Oh, wow.
That's some brilliant commentary right there.
No, we're going to need
Yes.
to sit down
That
for
is
that one.
grade A content.
That was deep and pithy.
Wow.
I think Henry Cavill and Jason will be a pretty decent matchup. I'm still not sure about Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah, he doesn't have... I mean...
He doesn't have the build for it. I mean, are they going to put him in a muscle shirt for the entire movie?
I know.
I get it. He can work out and bulk up. I get that. But he just doesn't have the... I don't know. He just doesn't have the look, in my mind.
He's always got a look of kind of scrawny for the most part. Not to say that he is, but he's always been pretty lean, not so much muscular. So, yeah, I'm wondering about him in that role in general. And then... especially comparing him to Henry, and if Jason does get this role, Jason's huge. He's Samoan, and obviously the three of us know he's ripped.
Yeah,
so,
if you keep track with Game of Thrones, he's pretty well built.
Yeah, he's massive. I mean, he's a massive guy. I mean, he's going to trump Henry, and that's kind of weird to me to have potentially an actor playing Aquaman more in shape or more muscular than the Man of Steel. So I think that's kind of strange.
All I can think about is this dude just does a lot of swimming. That's it. He just
but
swims
if you ever look
everywhere.
at a swimmer's body, they're not muscular.
It's lean.
They're lean.
No.
You look at all the Olympic swimmers, they're tall, long
Olympic
arms,
sweaters?
and skinny. Sweaters. Olympic sweaters. Yeah, they've got rings on them, and little old ladies knit them in their living rooms.
It's the Olympic knitting team.
But this is the only way this guy gets around, except for, like, maybe a submarine.
He rides on whales and sharks and crap.
So
I really hope he doesn't ride on crap. That would be...
I would like to propose a recasting. We can keep the same actor, seeing as they're already signed or purported to be. Resign Jason as Superman, Henry as Batman. We'll let Ben take Aquaman.
And that would fit better.
That would work.
I mean, complexions aside a little bit, Jason's a little darker than pretty much every depiction of Superman up to this point in history. But hey, things could happen.
He flies close to the sun all the time. Done.
A little too much tan there going on. Anyway, so yeah, that's rumored to be going down. Again, it's not confirmed. We hear updates, we'll be sure to pass it on. And with that, let's jump into the news.
In their constant efforts to outdo themselves in annoying their customers, Microsoft came out with another good one. Their recent their Xbox One advertisement features Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, or formerly from Breaking Bad, demoing some of the features in the Xbox One with Kinect. Unfortunately, during the course of the 30-second advertisement, he issues 4 commands for the Xbox, including Xbox On, go to Titanfall, Snap TV, and record that. All of which causing whoever's listening to this that has an Xbox One, their console is now going nuts.
I guess it's hilarious that this happened, but and I've seen the articles of people's Xboxes going nuts, as you say, or following the commands that are given to them. But on the other hand, this is kind of although it's a marketing blunder for Xbox, it's also, I see it as a benefit to them because it shows that the features that they're advertising work. That when the commercial says Xbox One and someone's Xbox boots up and people are reporting this, I mean, the functionality of what they've advertised is an actual working product. So,
no, I agree with you. It does show that the features work, but do you want your entertainment system to be messed up by whatever's on the radio or playing on the TV?
No, obviously not. To which you then wonder, how could you remedy this? Would you have a push button to talk on the controller? Would you have you set it up with voice recognition? I don't know.
You could do a push to talk, or a microphone on the remote control that you push a button and talk into.
Or could you record them? We've got the technology to record, each person's voice patterns. If you were to have a setup wizard when you first boot it up, and you get all the people that would be using it to all say a certain phrase during setup, then the Xbox would only react to those voices unless someone were to go through and reinitiate a setup.
Sure. This is not unique to Microsoft, though. Some of the Android devices have had problems with the Google Now features.
Yeah, I think I've turned that off on my Android just because pretty much, and same with a lot of the other features with the Android operating system. If it's a gimmick and it's more going to waste my battery than I'm going to use it, then I don't need it on.
Yeah.
It's kind of my stance on that.
Well, and it's not that hard to pick up the handset and push a button.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is it really necessary to have all these things listening all the time?
Well, look, on the bright side, it's not on the internet anymore, so you have nothing to worry about.
That's
You're
right.
safe.
On the bright side, it's no longer listening to you, reporting back to the NSA, and
It's just listening to you.
it's just listening.
It's just listening.
Remember that update it was doing? Well, it was actually sending information out to the...
Yeah.
Well, now they have the new edition that you don't even have to buy the Kinect, which I haven't been able to confirm yet, but I've heard rumors. I need to dig deeper. I'll try and do that and have it in the show notes. But I've heard stories that if you disconnect the Kinect, now that that's a viable option, supposedly the way the console is built, it reserves part of its graphics processor load to process what's coming in through the Kinect. So if you disconnect the Kinect device, you actually get a performance boost out of it.
Okay, so it's not still reserving that for if the Kinect were to be replugged in, but it would reallocate once it is re-engaged?
Correct.
Yeah, they did. We were saying that it got a 10% boost in performance. Microsoft has come out and said that they're like, oh no, it's not because of the Kinect. It's like, yeah, all right, sure.
Yeah, it seems awfully coincidental.
Oh, that...
When you take the thing out, it gets 10% stronger.
Yeah.
You think that's just a gimmick, or do you think it's actually a situation within the Xbox that the Kinect truly takes up potentially 10% of its processing power?
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it has to keep on with motion control and then listen to you and then relay all that information into the Xbox, and that has to be computed and whatnot. So I could see that being that much power.
Now, has Sony released any of the motion stuff for the PS4 yet?
That
Anybody
I
know?
don't know.
Nope, that's the only real motion thing I can think of is their Project Morpheus, which is their VR headset.
Yeah, because they had the motion wand system with the PS3.
The Move?
Is it the Move?
It was the
I thought
Move.
it was the motion.
Move, motion, whatever.
I wonder if anyone, if they have, what performance decreases the system will experience when that's in use. If it's similar. We'll never know.
This just in, clarified from Eurogamer.net. They spoke to Microsoft, and in a direct quote, the Microsoft spokesperson said, yes, the additional resources allow up to a 10% additional GPU performance.
Wow.
Yeah.
So between a 10% boost and or the Xbox going haywire, depending on the conversations being had, you have to ask yourself, how much value is the Kinect functionality really worth to you?
Not enough.
See, and that's the functionality. It's funny, and I've said this before, the stuff that Microsoft has been under heat for with the Xbox, the voice activated system, the stuff that's not gaming oriented, is the functionality I'm most curious about and would be most interested in.
Right.
So, I don't know. Jumping over to our friends Amazon, we know we've talked about them recently and some of the uproar that they've had in the news, whether it's book publishing issues with Hachette or the agreement with Warner Brothers and the discussions over the Lego Movie pre-sales along with others. Well, they are back in the news. Apparently they had previously had a deal with a German knife company. I'm trying to see here with the Wusthof, who had an agreement with Amazon, and Amazon said, we will sell your products at your minimum advertised price, or MAP, and, we'll have a nice, long, professional
We'll live long and
relationship.
prosper.
Well, apparently what Amazon says and what they do, at least with this particular brand, aren't the same. They have been reported to be selling these knives at 10% under the MAP, causing quite a bit of uproar. Wusthof tries to maintain solid pricing because a bulk of their, or at least 25% of their business comes from small mom and pop knife retailers and brick and mortar stores. And when you have a company like Amazon who is eating into those stores' profitability and retail because they're undercutting by 10%, it hurts the actual manufacturer. So at one point, the knife manufacturer decided to end their relationship with Amazon because although they were getting business from Amazon, their reputation was being hurt by Amazon's antics. Well, once again, Amazon reaches out to them to try to renegotiate and again says that they will adhere to the minimum advertised price. The deal is inked, the deal is set, and Amazon again undercuts it by another 10%. So there's a lot of stuff going on with our buddies over there, and we hope that the negativity gets dealt with.
Again, it kind of goes back to our conversation last week about getting too big.
Agreed.
Having
and I saw
too
that,
much
that's
power.
exactly what I was thinking. And the power struggle that we, the consumer, have allowed these major retailers to have, whether it's Walmart, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Home Depot, whether it's Lowe's. Because Lowe's, Home Depot, and Walmart, those three have really hurt the domestic horticulture industry. Mm-hmm. Our dad worked at a major nursery in Irvine, and because those three companies would negotiate so aggressively with the pricing that it really dug into a lot, if not almost all, of the profitability for these nurseries who grow and sell these plants. So, it's tough. We as consumers want a good deal, but we have to ask ourselves, at what cost does that come? Because everything's a trickle effect, butterfly effect.
Absolutely.
Wait.
Yeah, it's not a good thing when they get too much control over the market.
Yeah, and
They
like
can
we
squeeze too
talk
hard.
about in other industries, competition is the salvation of the consumer,
Absolutely.
and not pure power struggle from the distributor.
From
Because
the mega
technically
corporations.
Technically, they're distributors, so final retailers, I guess, not manufacturers. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that and the other stuff that Amazon's dealing with, their negotiations with Time Warner and the publishing company Hachette.
Publishing company?
Publishing company? Hachette's the book
Oh,
publisher.
okay. Yeah,
that they,
Yes.
There you go.
I got the two mixed up. But yeah, I mean, really, guys? Is this really what you need to do to sell your things, is undercut and screw everyone else over? Now, granted, I do this in the World of Warcraft auction house. I know this is one heck of a jump. I undercut the competition, but there are a lot of people who can just do the same to me. But when you're this big and you can control this much of any given product, it breaks people really well.
Well, the difference between this situation and
I understand
and
it's fake money.
video
but still.
game is no one's really out anything in a simulated economy. But now you're talking about other retailers losing their profitability and potentially their stores and whatever else. So it's, like I said, it's a trickle effect. A discount at one place means they're buying it for cheaper or hurting other people in the same industry. So we can go on and on about that, I think, but I think it's best to move along.
Moving on.
Well, in gaming news, the game, Watch Dogs is yet under fire for graphical,
Inconsistencies?
inconsistencies? I don't know if that's the correct word, but we'll run with it. On the PC, is that a modder has found code in the PC version of the game and has then altered it to then increase the graphics of what we saw on last year's E3. That would be the 2013 E3, where upon the production cycle of this game, the graphics was toned down, I guess is the best word for it. And this particular modder on the site Guru 3D has able to bring back its prettiness, but however the game still does run pretty poorly on the PC. And this has been brought up to a lot of controversy, is that have the console manufacturers, Microsoft and Sony, this is very, very unlikely, coalitioned to collaborated and paid Ubisoft, the creators of the game, to downgrade the PC's ability in graphic wise so that it would sell more on their consoles. Now, to have Sony and Microsoft coming together is highly unlikely. So people are asking Microsoft, what was going on here? It's obvious that you had the intention to do so, to put it on the PC at these high graphics. Why has it been toned down?
You mean Ubisoft?
Ubisoft? Yeah.
You said the question was to Microsoft.
Oh, did I? So many softs
I
around here.
question that.
It's too soft.
There's two softs.
Why was this toned down?
You mentioned that when the modder re-enabled the high-quality graphics, that the performance was poor.
It was... Sorry.
Go ahead.
It runs either with or without graphics-wise poor all the way around.
So the graphics had no effect on its performance. It's still...
Correct.
Okay. It's still crummy.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if the graphics were dumbed down in an effort to try and make it run better.
Or I wonder if they were trying to open it up to a bigger market where you wouldn't have to have certain rated graphics cards to play it, so they dumbed down the graphics to hit a broader market.
Right.
I mean, that would be if I were... I guess I don't understand the hard coding factor of it. I think, like many other games, there should be an option to enable the different graphical settings depending on the capabilities of your machine.
Sure.
But, maybe they just wanted to avoid that concept because people may not know that their computer can't run at 1080p or 4K resolution, and they set that, and the performance is hindered, and then the company's getting negative for even poorer performance. So, I don't know. There's a lot of questions involved with this.
Yeah, well, people are up in arms because some people have rigs that are far superior than the consoles have right now, and
there's a lot of people who can't afford to spend $5,000 on a computer.
Well, I don't think you need $5,000. I mean, that's for hardcore YouTubing.
You guys both know what I'm saying, though. There's a lot of real elaborate systems. There's a lot of people that have real expensive systems that will complain about the resolution because they know their system can handle it. But there's a lot of people out there who play games on systems that don't come close to that don't know any better. You know, they go out and they buy a gaming PC off the shelf for $1,000, $800.
Mm-hmm.
I did. My Alienware is $800.
You know, you gotta factor in the masses, and the masses are not going to be spending a ton of money and know every spec of a computer. There's my 2 cents.
So a lot of the PC race are just kind of wondering when Ubisoft is going to bring out a press thing saying, hey, we could have had this easily on this thing, yet we're being brought down to the consoles level. It's some people say it's the PC master race. It's like, okay.
Well, from a company like Ubisoft, though, if you have to design a game for certain specifications, it's not necessarily cost-effective to re-engineer that game for different specifications. If they have to dummy it down to a degree for the consoles, then it just makes sense to just release all 3 quote-unquote platforms the same. Not have to have one toned down, have one boosted up, whatever. It's just not cost-effective.
That's why you see, pardon me, in video game ports, games that were originally developed for consoles and then brought over to PC. The controls tend to be very simplistic, game controller-based controls. The graphics are very console-looking. Yeah. They don't spend the time to rewrite them.
Yep.
So, like I said, Microsoft, almost did it again. Ubisoft has not come out with any kind of press release for this.
And nor will they.
Yeah, well, people are waiting. They want to know.
They won't. I mean, you as a company don't admit to your faults if it's not really a catastrophic failure. So, anyway.
Agreed. I don't think we'll be hearing anything.
Yep.
One company that we have heard plenty from, though, is Tesla.
Oh,
Tesla!
Tesla, yay!
Yay.
Speaking of Tesla, I got to sit in one.
Did you?
Yesterday, yes.
At a showroom or a private?
No, in a showroom.
I mean, I say showroom. More like retail kiosk is more accurate.
Yes, in their mall store.
Yep.
Was it electrifying?
It was.
Did it have the big iPad-sized screen in the dash?
Oh, it's bigger than that. It's like 17-inch.
Yeah, it's a whole dash where your AC and radio is. It's all touchscreen like an iPad.
Let's go to the drive-in movie. Why? We got one right here.
Let's just go sit in the car and watch a movie.
That's right.
Anyway, last week we had discussed their CEO, Elon Musk, talking about how he wanted to start forming partnerships with other car manufacturers to share technologies, license technologies for the other manufacturers to start using the Tesla superchargers for charging stations for their electric vehicles.
Yeah, provided.
Sure. There were terms and conditions and, check the website for details. So, this week, he took it a step further. Tesla holds a whole bunch of patents on their charging system. And in a blog post from this week, Elon Musk, the CEO, comes out and says, look, we got all these patents because when we started the company, frankly, we were expecting that we were going to make some breakthroughs and then the major manufacturers would come, chasing our tail and run us out of business. So we got all the patents for everything we did and nothing happened. None of the manufacturers have been the least bit interested. The electric car market makes up a tiny fraction of a percentage of all the vehicles sold.
I mean,
So,
remember hearing like
rather,
the Nissan Leaf, which
yeah,
cost a lot less. It's like 3 years old now since its iteration or something like that, and it's only sold like 100,000 cars, models or whatever. So
and
it's
the
like,
annual
ouch.
vehicle production is approaching 100 million vehicles a year total.
And
So,
that's not even from Tesla. That's Nissan, and yet Tesla's cars cost significant more than the Nissan Leaf.
oh, sure, but it's a different class of vehicle. I mean, the two don't
yeah.
compare.
Yeah,
So,
One's just electric and one's electric with style.
exactly. With style. So, the new news then this week is, after realizing that nobody was really interested, they've made the very bold move while still retaining the rights to the patents. They're not giving up the patents. They have made a very broad statement that they will not be prosecuting or protecting their patents. They want everybody to use them. Here's our technology. We're going to make it available. Please start using it.
I mean, that's pretty bold.
It is.
I mean, there's not a lot of companies out there that says, hey, I own the rights to this, but I'm at the point now that I don't care. It's for the betterment of everyone involved. Here's my gift to you.
Yeah, please start using it.
That doesn't happen in the commercial world.
Nope.
quite frankly, it's actually what the world needs is the big people stepping out and trying to make a difference and not looking at how much money can I be making while trying making this difference.
Well, here's, along that line, try to grasp this. We could solve world hunger tomorrow.
Yeah,
If the people who were making money on the food decided to be charitable.
Yep.
Period. Did you know we feed cattle so much that we could solve world hunger with just the grain we feed cattle? But because we consume so much beef, it's being given to them as opposed to people that actually need it.
Well, it's not only that, but look at all the corn that we use for fuel.
Yep.
Ethanol is a horrible waste of food.
Oh, yeah. But yet, a lot of it was government subsidized at one point.
Oh, sure.
There were huge grants at one point to grow corn for the primary purpose of ethanol.
Mm-hmm.
So,
With, all these wonderful promises of a cleaner environment and much cheaper fuel.
yeah, provided other people don't lose money in the process. I mean, that's really the fact.
So none of the promises have been kept. We don't have cheaper fuel. Yes, burning ethanol has fewer emissions, except you need to burn more of it to get equivalent energy out of it than gasoline, so you end up right back in the same boat.
Sure.
So, I think this is a very big step for Tesla, for Elon, to come out and say, look, electric's the future. At least then we can shift the pollution to a few points rather than 100 million a year. There's an estimated 2 billion cars on the road worldwide. 2 billion.
Yeah, that's...
if we
like
can
we
start
said last
shifting
week,
those electric,
Yeah, we said
then we
last
can
week.
start controlling the pollution at more limited areas, start cleaning that up, and this is the way to go.
Yeah. No, agreed.
So, start using it.
Go electric, unless you like the sound of an engine, in which case, stop whining.
Well, even for people like that, sound recording technology is amazing nowadays. Have an electric car with a simulated gasoline engine sound.
Just an underlying
geez.
track of like all the songs in your
There you
stereo.
go. I will take a Tesla with a V8 soundtrack, please.
Yeah. Only if it's wired to the accelerator. Is it called an accelerator anymore? I guess you're still accelerating. So the sound is tied to the actual
sure.
motion.
Sure.
God.
Then I'll think about it. Yeah,
Sitting at a red light, revving the engine that only you can hear.
that only you can hear. Everyone else is hearing inside the car. Doesn't seem right, really.
Well, and, when you're on a long trip and you don't want to disturb your driving partner, you can put in your Bluetooth headset and hear it directly in your ear.
Oh, God. Again. Yeah, I'm not so sure I'm buying that one just yet. Oh, wow.
Patent pending.
Abundance of not proprietary product. Oh, fantastic.
The V8 soundtrack.
V8 soundtrack for your Tesla. 3 easy payments of $33.
That's it.
And
I
95
can
cents.
imagine a future where you can pay to download ancient car sounds, like a Corvette.
Ancient car.
Wow. You remember the classics? Like the Ford Mustang.
That's right.
The
Well, that was an
Corvette.
actual classic. How about this? Get the sound of the classic car Lamborghini Aventador.
There you go.
Debuted originally in 2012. For your 2025.
That was a good year.
Great year for wine, I'm telling you. Great year for wine.
Oh, jeez.
What are we talking about? We went on a rant.
Tangent.
That's fantastic. Wade, I think you had another one.
Moving
right?
on.
Speaking of things that are for sale, or might be, Capcom.
At some point in the future.
Yeah, Capcom is, I don't know the technical term, is no longer protecting their market shares. I forget what term they're called. It's long and obnoxious. But if you're a person who has enough money and enough drive, sooner or later you'll be able to buy enough of Capcom stock to essentially own Capcom. So Capcom is
They're
maybe
no
up for
longer
sale.
retaining the majority shareholder position, or at least offering that to the masses. Something like that.
Yeah.
The shareholders voted to take down the company's takeover defense. They're allowing somebody, whoever, to buy a majority share.
Interesting. Why? Because they sank $2 billion into some project that isn't working?
R&D.
Can we say Atari? Sorry. Does that mean
Sega?
Sega?
Nintendo?
They're on their way, man. God. If Nintendo doesn't do something crazy in the next couple of years, they're probably going to be out.
I said they needed to release a new console for at E3, and they didn't.
Well, they weren't even there. They did a digital
No,
press conference.
haven't you seen the new announcement? It's awesome. It's Mario Kart 8 for Wii U.
Yay!
Which increased sales of 600% in the United Kingdom.
Okay, but 600% of one is still only 6.
Exactly. That's kind of the point. When I realized the UK's got a healthy population, but they're not China. I mean,
No. Well, and Mario Kart 8 has some fascinating new features, like being able to drive upside down.
yeah, and driving a go-kart and shooting shells at people.
Yeah.
Although I did
People
hear they
were...
got rid of the blue shell.
They did. No, they didn't, but it just operates differently. It now can hit other people in the process. And they decided to be so ingenuitive with Mario Kart 8 that they imported racetracks from Nintendo 64 version.
They've also taken out the Battle Square arenas.
Oh, I love those.
Those arenas. It's like, nope, you're just battling on the track now.
Oh, I like those battle modes. Those were fun. With the balloons.
And they're not cars anymore. They're anti-gravity hover.
There's an anti-gravity deal you get while you're racing. You can have cars, motorcycles, different wheel types, hang gliders, parachutes. Yeah.
Look, I'm sure it's fun to play, but, they really need something better than that.
I think they should just go into the emulator business and offer their stuff.
Yeah.
To more people that
follow Sega's route.
Isn't most of their stuff on smartphone emulators anyway?
Well, pirated emulators, not sanctioned emulators.
Well, not legal, yeah.
It's on, what's it called? I think some of it was on the Android. I wouldn't be surprised if most of it was on Apple and Apple.
I doubt it because Apple keeps a pretty strict
and
deal for the App Store.
Some have tried to sneak it in, bundled in with other stuff. There was a file browser, an online file browser app that was on the Apple Marketplace that had a Nintendo emulator built in, and that was fairly quickly squashed.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Apple doesn't allow emulators.
Yep, they put a stop to that quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
But, let's face it, they have some good intellectual property. Everybody loves Mario. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah.
I love Mario.
Everybody
it's
likes
awesome.
Zelda. They haven't released a Zelda game for that console yet.
Why don't they take the route of Sega? Look, you're 2 generations behind already on your console. You're probably not going to catch up. Change gears here and make Mario available for PS4 and Xbox One.
Well, I think it's more obvious than that. They're already designing games to be played on a tablet-style controller.
Yep.
So just offer the games.
Go to Android and
tablets.
iOS.
Yeah. But have the games available for $5, $10, $15. Buy Mario Kart for iPad or Samsung, whatever.
I'd buy it.
If I could get Super Mario Brothers 3 from the original NES console for my iPad, I'd be playing that thing all the damn time because I never beat the frickin' game when I had it.
It
was impossible.
Would you like to buy an extra life?
Would you like to buy a flower or a raccoon tail?
See, that's where they're going to start making money, is all the microtransactions.
Patent pending again.
Yeah. There you go, Nintendo. Pay us. Your lawyers aren't doing it for you.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got any wrap up here?
Well, I'm finally getting the E3 coverage things up on the channel.
Wow.
Awesome.
Isn't that kind of late news?
Yeah. Except I'm just going to go, I just go through games with a short, let you know what's going on with them. And if you do want to know more, hey, we have our good friends at TLDR.
There you go.
So if you had
TLDR did cover E3, not quite live, but fairly consistent.
Yeah. So if any games on the videos that I am doing entice you, TLDR Gamer should have more info on them. And the first one should be up the same day this podcast gets brought up. So if you're listening to this, you could be listening to that when this is done.
Yeah, don't stop listening to us.
Sure. Just shop at Amazon.
House ad
That's
there.
all I care about.
Just not knives from a German manufacturer.
Don't try to pre-order any Warner Brothers products or buy any actual books. But yeah,
just most of Amazon's.
Definitely, yeah. To our Game of Thrones fans, be sure to check out our Abundance of Thrones cast. We are just wrapping up our season 4 content for that. I know, sad face. So check it out. Let us know what you think, and we'll talk to you guys later.
That's a wrap.
We here at Abundance of Naught do appreciate you listening in and would also appreciate you sharing us with your friends via the Stitcher Radio app and also iTunes. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and join us at Facebook. Thank you.